Brickhouse Productions Premiere. Panoramic lifestyle. A vision moves in all directions.
Yeah. Perez in my city like Vegas. Like Vegas? I need 1 million people screaming my name. Really, I'm not with the bull, I'm stubborn, baby. Maybe I will or maybe I won't, and that's a whole lot of maybes. Got a whole lot of babies. They need some brand new Mercedes. Can't wait till we take flight. No more asking for favors. I got a plug on the west side. Who got all kind of...
Yeah, no, man. So, look, okay, like, I'm not trying to be that guy. Understand this. I'm not trying to be that guy. Like I told you, I'm 1% better. There's nothing in my history that makes me be this guy, but I have to put these disclaimers out now because we're in the gotcha movement. All right. But there is a very attractive young lady in the green room area just sitting there twiddling her thumbs. What's going on? Are we interviewing her? Is she an intern?
Please tell me you didn't speak to her. Did you say something to her on the way in?
I mean, I'm a polite guy. I did not speak to her, but I did not speak to her. Like, we saw each other, we locked eyes. I did my nod. You know what I'm saying? I gave her the black experience. You see somebody, you lock eyes, you give them a head nod or a hello. Hey, what's going on? A smile, a wink, a wave, whatever. No wink, but a wave. That was it. That's all I did.
What kind of eyes did you give her? Did you give her the, hey, I'm looking at you? Or was it more like, hey, I'm passing by, I don't know who you are?
No, hey, just hey. All right. Well, somebody in the green room, hey.
Okay.
Like, we don't stage people in the green room except our guests. So we have a guest today because that was not on my call sheet that we will be interviewing a guest.
Well, that's because we don't like to keep you in strategy because you oftentimes fuck it up, to say the least. So, as you and I have talked about, right? There's always friction here. This is where we are. We're going to bring in somebody new. So we have a young lady. I convinced her. I told her about all the bullshit that she's going to have to deal with working with you. Somehow she was okay for her background made her okay. Like, and then she was like, oh, I can deal with that. I've dealt with worse. And I said, really? So hopefully she can tell us about the worst that she dealt. Anyway, she's going to come in, right? And she's going to kind of try to fill this role. We've been talking about that female voice that we wanted as we kind of put this show together. So she's going to come in. I think she can roll with the punches very well. I think she's going to be a huge asset to the show if she doesn't have to hit you with a sexual harassment suit before the end of the show.
Whoa.
All right. Whoa. Listen, you gotta walk the line here. All right.
First of all, I've never been hit with a sexual lawsuit.
Are you like Bloomberg? You got NDAs?
No, I don't have. Listen to me. I don't have any acronyms attached to my name. I don't have NBAs, DNAs, TBA. I don't have anything attached to my name whatsoever. All right. The only thing I'm trying to attach to my name is a better contract in which I thought I got, which clearly stated that I would have some respect. You can't bring somebody in on the show and tell them like it's for her to decide. Like, y'all set me up for failure. Okay. Y'all set me up for failure with this young lady. Come on, man.
Listen.
Let me make my impression on her for her to decide. What's her background?
We tried that.
Where is she at? Is she coming on today's show?
Yeah, she's about to come in here now. Listen, we tried to let you do it your way for about 50 shows, and you see how that worked out. So here we are. So this time we're not going to do it that way. We want to warn everybody and give them a disclaimer about you, so when they come in this working environment, they know what they're walking into. So yeah, here, that's enough about this shit. Let's get Faith. Come on in when you're ready. Come on in. Get close up to the mic. Don't worry about this ass. So did he harass you when you were sitting out there?
I mean, not that I noticed.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well,
thank you. Pleasure to meet you, Faith. Pleasure. And her name's Faith. Come on. All right. Have a little faith in me. All right. like finally, some faith in the room. All right. We have a little faith in me. We got faith here. Have some faith in me, Brickhouse. That's all I ask.
He's swinging. He's swinging, he's missing. He's swinging, he's missing. Faith, how are you today?
I'm doing great. You know, it's not like I haven't heard that line, have faith in me my whole life, but.
Oh, see, I knew it. Call him out. Talk to him. Tell him what he did wrong.
First of all, that line was for me to have faith in me. I was just running a pun off of her neck. Okay, I want people to have faith in me. It was really for the listeners to have faith in me. I am better. I'm better.
The best line I ever heard was someone asked me to reach out and touch them.
Oh.
But I'm pretty sure it was meant for the...
Were you at a Trump rally?
Oh, God, no. That was the worst.
Like you were at a Trump rally.
In a while.
So let's talk a little bit about the faith and why you even wanted to come in and be a part of this foolery. I don't know. Well, let's get to know you a little bit more. You can tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, some of the things you have going on, and then we'll just kind of get a conversation going here with you and see how it works out. Just relax. It's going to be all good.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm from Northern California, born in Red Bluff, Redding, Chico area. Not a lot of people know what Northern California is. A lot of people say Sacramento and San Francisco is northern, but they don't realize there's an extra 6 hours north of that area left in the state. It's a big one. And I went to Humboldt State University for my undergrad and then continued on my higher education to med school. And so I've been in Phoenix since, because that's where I went to med school, but had a lot of trials, tribulations, fun, 14 different jobs, tried oddball things, and became a really interesting individual on the course of that whole journey. And here I am.
Here you are. 14 different jobs. So I've probably had, I know I've had at least 14. I want to say probably 20 to 25. Koffe Black, how about you? How many jobs have you had?
Well over 15. Well over 15 jobs.
Is that a one-upper?
Yes.
One extra than you.
One extra.
All horrible. No careers, just jobs. Like this guy topped out at a career. I'm still in job. Like you two have accomplished. Like you guys have accomplished your accomplishments and have got out from that job shit, and now you're stressed out about things that you want to be stressed out about. I'm stressed out about other people's shitty things that they want to be stressed out about. Yeah, I'm still at job phase.
Careers too.
Oh man.
So what is one of the worst jobs that you had? And I mean, this can be going back all the way. What age did you start working?
Well, that depends on whether you think child labor is a type.
Oh yeah, I count that. I count that. We should go back to that.
Yeah. I guess my first official job, W-2 and everything, I was a telemarketer, and it still is the worst job I have ever had, which is something. I was a telemarketer for a vacuum company, Rainbow Vacuum Company, if anybody has ever had a Kirby or a Rainbow.
No, you did
Kirby.
That shit?
I did Kirby.
You went that house-to-house thing?
No, I was the person who set up
appointments.
But my husband, he actually was a vacuum salesman for like 5 years. I don't even know.
Holy shit, that guy was dedicated.
I think he's just a really good salesperson. But the shit he saw, my God, man. He's always happy when people don't chase him out the house with some kind of thing. So,
That's great that we stopped right there, because I just need. I'm sorry. I don't mean to push, and I know you're a moderator, but I need to get in this conversation because we were talking about this earlier this week. Well, it's been all over the media this week, pop culture media, about Megan Thee Stallion. Some of our listeners might not know who she is, but she's like a new rapper on the scene, new female rapper. And the quality of her music, I won't comment on because I don't know. I've never really heard her stuff. But what I do know is this whole or deal going on about her contract that she signed that is worse than a 360 deal. Now, Jay, Brickhouse, you're into the entertainment industry as well as I am, and you know about the business side more so than I do. Explain Faith, do you know what a 360 deal is?
Nope.
Okay, so Brickhouse, give us the rundown. Give us the rundown on that.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of this is for you to try to sell me. Now, if you can't sell me, I'm going to see if Faith's husband can sell me on the idea of taking a fucking... Because if that guy sold Kirby vacuums for 5 years, she's right. He's a hell of a salesman. Okay? And I'm not convinced that anybody can convince me to sign a 360 deal. And also, I'm not under contract with anybody except... it's to be argued I'm in a 360 deal right now with your ass. Hell, you've been getting a piece of me for like 6 years.
360 deals. 360 deals are often shitted on by most people because it is the artist or the laborer or whoever's out doing the work paying a percentage of everything they do all around. So it's 360 because it means everything they're doing. So in the case of a musician, it's your merch, it's your touring, is if you get that acting spot on whatever the TV show is, whatever you do. That comes after you sign this deal with this person, they get a percentage of. All right, like so royalties. What was that?
Like royalties.
Like something like that. But there is more like I guess you can look at it as an equity distribution. That's kind of what it is. So it's like they become an equity partner in every business deal that you do. Okay. So on a bigger scale, and the first time I seen this in play, but then this was before 360 deals became more mainstream and people understood what they were, was in the WWE with wrestling with Vince McMahon. So all those wrestlers there, from what I understand, again, I haven't put my eyes on any of these things, but it was something like 10% of everything that they did once they left WWF or WWE. So you take a big wrestler like John Cena. John Cena's Cena signed his name. Like the WWE owns John Cena's name because they created John Cena. So everything John Cena does, whether he's on the commercial, he's in a movie, he's he signs an endorsement deal, they take like I said, I think it's 10%. Again, it may have changed, it may be less, but it's roughly that amount of everything. So the argument is, I did my work and you put me on, you got me to this stature. And I should be able to freely move around and do what I want to do. So the whole issue coming back around to this 360 deal, again, this is just from what I've been able to read. Rock Nation, which is, Jay-Z's management company, now has approached her and I guess they took her on as management. And they've been, so now you have the best of the best now telling you, hey, this contract you signed was kind of fucked up. But if you look on the other side, the owner of this small record label, independent record label, had to do all the footwork, right? And so it's like, well, they only paid her $15,000, and her revenue was like $7 million. But it's like, well, how much were the expenditures? Nobody talked about that. Like, how did he have to spend $5 million out of his pocket, or $6 million, and he only profited, $1 million or $2 million off of her because of the expenses? So going back, the core of the 360 deal is, I'm doing all these things for you. You're not, again, without this company, this guy, whoever she signed with, there is no Meg Thee Stallion. She never she never gets to the level without this guy. So now that she's on the level and has opportunities, she wants to get out of the contract. But this guy is like, you bet on me to get you here, and now I bet that I could get you here. So now it's time for me to receive those royalties as Faith was talking about. So that's kind of a small framework, if that makes sense to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely, and I get what you're saying. Like, okay, I put you on, I get 10% of everything that you do, but I don't feel you should have 10% of everything I create for the rest of my life. Like, fuck you. Like, no. Like, and furthermore, some of these deals are not like that. That you might be able to convince me at 10% if you can provide the level of acclaim, critical acclaim that I need to have to be successful and to change my life. But some of these deals we get 60%, you get 40%. Like a lot of these artists, they get money based off of just, their touring and their appearances and this, that, and other. Like that's what the money they get to keep. This deal that this young lady had, they got money from everything. Like she didn't keep money from anything at all, which is absurd to me. So you said in response to when I sent you that information that they're not really that bad depending upon how it's set up. So I would like for you to convince me, sir, on signing a 360 deal.
Do you guys know about non-compete clauses?
Non-competes?
Yes.
I know about them from watching Suits. Great show on USA. And Harvey Specter, like non-compete, sign a non-compete. I know if you leave, like when you get fired or you want to leave a job or some shit like that, they tell you to sign a non-compete, which means like you won't take something that you've got from the job someplace else. Is that?
Yeah, so in the medical field at least, non-compete clauses are pretty common, especially in like aesthetics industries, or at least jobs that offer you some kind of incentive when they hire you on. Either they give you training that you don't have to pay for, or they don't want you to be using the services because it's a small town. But the thing about it is that they give you usually a time limit. And so this whole 360 deal, I think that it could be beneficial up to a point, and people could be able to be more apt to sign them if it had, I don't know, royalties for 10 years versus like the rest of everything that you own. Because yes, at a point you did get them there, but you should only be able to claim something from, I don't know, a music deal. And if somebody wants to go into movies, commercials, something else that's just using their personal brand and not so much just how they got there with the music, that it should have some kind of compete clause where it, at certain time, it kind of expires through the deal. Because yes, I can understand from that person's perspective, I made you, but that's like living off of someone's back for the rest of their life. And however big they get, that's how much they're going to be able to get from them. And I think that that's good until a certain point. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah. No, and I appreciate that perspective most definitely. So coming from the business side of it, I'll just say it's like this. Again, if we're talking music artists, if we're talking about reality show stars, whoever we're talking about, there's this space that you're in when you're independent and it's just you and you're running around and you may have your little small team, but all you want to do is get on the whatever the for whatever is considered the highest level for whatever the person is trying to do. All right, and so now you're looking for the gatekeepers into the industry. Right, all you want to do, this is you, right? Koffe Black. Let's go to comedians. All you want to do is get to a point where you can get a Netflix special, or you can get here. But in order to get to the level, whether it's the NBA, whether it's Netflix, whether it's in the medical, wherever you want to go, you got to go through some steps, right? So we go back to the music now. She comes in and she doesn't have a deal. She may not even been Meg Thee Stallion. They could have created that name for her. So they created a brand that she can live off of the rest of her life. So think about the one-hit wonders from the 70s and the 80s and 90s who can still tour around and make money now off of how well the company branded them. They turned them into this entity, into this basically this corporation that is
still around.
You said what now?
You said Vanilla Ice is still around.
Vanilla, perfect, right? And so because of whatever record label he signed with, they made that years ago. They spent so much money branding him and putting him in all these places that he's still touring around now. Again, he's not getting whatever he was getting for a show, 25 years ago, but he can go out and get a couple $1,000s and not have to go to work. That's the branding that they did. So if I come through Koffe Black and I say, all right, here's the deal. This is what's on the table. You're going to be a star, right? Because we all know in reality, on the backside of entertainment, as they say, stars are made. And that's in any part of the entertainment industry. If somebody's signing off on you, and if all the major players buy into what your image is and your marketing plan. And they think that more so than anything, it's not even about your talent. It's about that the public or whoever the consumer is will buy into you, and they can generate millions of dollars off of you. That's how you get to the next level. So I say all that to say, you can be an independent comic and work, or an independent artist or whatever we're in, and you can come out here and grind it out and work your ass off with your team. You know, you always at that level. Most people have a small budget, and you only can do so much. So and then this deal comes to you. Let's just say it's Netflix. Netflix says, hey, we're going to put you on Koffe Black. We're going to give you a special, right? And so, like I know what a special means is you get to tour the country now because you got to work all this shit out. That's all part of this deal they're about to give you. All right, so you're Koffe Black now. You have your stature that you have now. But once you do this Netflix special, what happens to your visibility?
Skyrockets.
Oh, yeah, of course, it goes up.
So exactly, you're out of it. You weren't there without me giving you this platform and building this brand and branding you. You weren't getting here. So it's like, all right, you're taking 10% of my future earnings. But let's go to a John Cena's case. They're taking 10% of a $20 million movie deal, right? Would he be getting the movie deals if it was not for everything that happened prior going to WWE and all of that? You see what I'm saying? So once you come to me and I'm Netflix, would you be there, or would you still? So you can have 100% of pennies, or you can give away 10% of millions of dollars of deals, which you receive because you met the gatekeeper and they put everything together for you.
Right, but the word escapes me right now. But like the difference, okay, for instance, like with Chappelle when he had Chappelle Show, right? Like he got like 50 million or whatever from Chappelle Show or whatever for like their second season. But it was the number one selling DVD. Like Comedy Central made, I think they said somewhere upwards to like $200+ million worldwide, like over the course of those 2 years. And still to this day, now it's somewhere upwards of like $500 million. So of course, you got licensing, you got this, you got that, you got all this different shit or whatever that factors into those prices. So everybody's got they pot or whatever. But again, they made money off of advertisement in between. Because of course, if you had a product, you wanted it being aired during Chappelle's show. So they made a shit ton of money, right? And they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to give you this. Now, is $50 million a lot of money? Abso-fucking-lutely. But I can argue that Comedy Central, like he was just as important to their success as they were his. Right? Like, at a point, the artistry, the actual artist, the one that's providing the art, like there's a point where their greatness can flip the table over and make your company and make you relevant for years upon years.
See, I think that's what's so interesting about YouTube, because YouTube is the first platform that anybody has ever been able to use where they can become so incredibly infamous and not have to have these companies that make them infamous.
Exactly.
And so
yeah.
it's amazing to think of something that's so it was such an afterthought of Google to make YouTube, and just to have this platform where literally they are making money off of people freely putting on content, and they don't have to provide anything for the creators. All they have to have is the space and like the platform, and they can make themselves so amazing, and they can be their own brand. They don't have to have people signing themselves onto things, and they can make their own path. And that's what's so impressive to me when you think about the difference of companies that need to promote someone, and they get to have a 10% cut of their lifetime earnings, versus people being self-made with YouTube. Now, the thing with YouTube is that it's a fight. There are 600 million, something like that, creators on YouTube. And there's 5 hours of content being uploaded every minute to the platform. So to be found on YouTube is damn near impossible. So these people who are getting upwards of, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million, PewDiePie has 120 million followers or subscribers on YouTube. And they're making so much freaking money, and they don't have to give it to anybody. But 5 years ago, when YouTube, people didn't know how to use YouTube, and there wasn't YouTube Buddy and all these other things that helped grow on the SEO side of it, because it is the second largest search engine in the world. And before, they had all these companies that were taking so much of the YouTubers' earnings to be able to promote them, that said, oh, I'll get your video higher on the search engine. I will put myself through this media. Now those don't exist anymore because YouTubers are wise to it and they don't want to be giving away their earnings. But it's very similar to this entertainment business. Really, any business has this form of like gatekeepers, that people who are willing to put your name out there for a platform and say, hey, I know this person. And that's why some YouTubers are bigger than others quicker, because they do know other people who are on YouTube and they just promote them. But I don't know, man. I don't really agree with the whole 10% for your entire life thing. I still think that it should have like an expiration date. 10 years, 20 years of your life, maybe. But your whole earnings for the rest of your life seems a little steep.
So here's the thing. And so all this is about is having collateral, right? So you come to me, so you guys say, no, you shouldn't be able to get paid this 10%. But if you come out, and we'll go back to Koffe Black, and I give you a Netflix special, right? The only collateral you have given me is I'm believing that your talent is good enough for me to make money off of you.
But also off Netflix, so that they watch what you've generated as well. Like that's what happened with Monique. Right? No. Can go into this conversation with her. Like, no, I'm just saying, but like with her. But
you're not. You don't have. But what I'm saying is, you haven't done any of this. I'm talking about you are still an independent comic. You're not Monique. You're not Chappelle. You're not none of these people. You don't have a name.
Okay.
This is what I'm saying. That's what we want to keep it is. We're not talking about people who have made a name. Is you don't have a name at all.
You're special at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, right. That's where you're at. So you're trying to get here, so you can, because once you get here.
So somebody from Netflix, you work from Netflix, you saw me at the Laugh Factory, and you're like, oh, this guy is gonna be somebody. He's a unknown star right now.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So that's the gamble. So let's say in this case I'm the independent company. I'm going back to Meg just said, I'm the owner of this record label. So the owner of the record label was a former baseball player. So I'm pretty sure he's funding some of this with his money, and he may have some other venture capitalists or whatever it may be. But he's still a small independent record label. So he comes, and so let's just say that. Let's say Netflix has it, is whatever. But I'm coming and I'm representing. I'm independent. So maybe I'm a partner of Netflix or something like that. One of the independent production companies they work with. So I come, I say, hey, we want to do this. We want to bring it. We want you to, we think you're a star. We want to make this happen for you. You're like, yes, this is great. This is the opportunity I've been waiting for. Cool. Let's put the deal together. So you're saying, I'm taking the most risks here, right? Like if you take a risk and you come out and the special is not, what it was, you still got a special on Netflix, regardless of how it is, it's always going to give you publicity. If I come out here and pay for you to tour for a whole year, you get your whatever your upfront money is, whatever your signing bonus, we give you a signing bonus, all right? So you can come out here and you can just focus on comedy. Then I gotta tour you around the country for like 6 months, right? You don't have a name now, so let's say if I'm going small, like you have your name, but if we want to get you big, we're gonna give you 4 months to do this. You're not Eddie Murphy, you're not Chappelle, so we're not paying for a whole year tour for you. We're paying for a 4-month tour for you. So you got to come out here in 4 months. We're going to tour you around. We're paying for everything. You have the tour bus. You got the hotels where you need to be. I'm spending all of this money. You come out. We put the video together, and the video bombs. And I just spent $3 million on you putting this special together. Who's going to recoup me that $3 million?
Bad investment.
It is a bad investment. So so now you walk away and you want your hands clean now because, oh, well, fuck it. It didn't work out for me. I still got this shit on Netflix. I have the $3 million loss I got to deal with. So what I'm saying, so the way from a business perspective is I'm taking the most risk here. I'm putting up all the upfront money. You're not bringing, so see, it's different when you come and you say, hey, I want to work this deal with you guys. I want to come in and executive produce. You put up half the money as a production company. I'm going to put up the other half as my production company was my independent artist. Let's work 50-50 on here. Well, then there is no 10%. There's no need to, because you came to me and you were established already. All right. So same thing with Chappelle. If we go back to what you were saying with Comedy Central, Chappelle already had specials and had did other shit already ahead of the Chappelle show. So he had leverage when he came there. I'm saying what we're talking about is when you don't have any leverage, or your leverage is your talent. Where else do you know, especially for artists, can you go? Like, you can't go into a bank and say, hey, I need a loan of $100,000 to work on an album. And they say, well, what's your collateral? My talent. Who's going to give you money to do that in any other place? So I'm taking a risk on your talent because I saw you perform. And so I'm taking this risk. I'm putting up all of this money and paying for all of these things. And so if it works out, it's great. You're going to make all of these things, all of this money. We're going to brand you. You're going to make millions of dollars and all of these things. You're going to be a big star. We get our percentage off of that because in the beginning, when you came to us with no collateral, we said, okay, we believe in your talent. So because we did that on the back end now, and we helped to make you what you went on to be and help you make all those millions of dollars, we should get a piece of that. Because if it goes the other way, you get debt or whatever it is, but I'm never going to get my $3 million back.
Shame on you for believing in me, baby. That's all I gotta say about that. Shame on you. That was y'all changed y'all business practices on me. Maybe I was just a star that night and my jokes lined up. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like that, all that sounds nice, but sometimes you just make a shitty investment and you take a loss. Like, okay. Like sometimes sometimes I make shitty jokes and I take a loss by nobody fucking laughing.
So think of it this way. I recoup my loss by taking 10% of the real stars.
Yeah, but dude,
so they pay. So your peers are actually paying for you.
No,
the ones that actually go and generate. So at a record label, Justin Timberlake is the star of the record label, whatever record label he's at right now. Like, he's the guy. All the money that he makes off of his tour and that he makes off of everything he does that comes back to that record label funds the albums of the new people who trying to come out, who need a budget. It's because Justin Timberlake just made this record label $500 million or $1 million or $100 million or $1 billion, whatever it may be, right, off of his sales. So that's why the record label functions, because they have three anchors. It's like if you go to the mall, right? You go to your local shop. You go to your local shop. No,
I got it.
No, I'm just saying there's anchors. Yeah. Right. And so if you're an anchor, then you get a different deal than everybody else who's just trying to get a piece of the pie.
Is the 360 deal a standard? Is this something that just kind of happens pretty commonly? Is it not common?
It is.
I think it's a standard now.
Like the past 10, 15 years, it's kind of, and it became, it's one of those things. It became
more going around for maybe before that, but now
it's like a virus. Yeah. But it's been more prevalent. Like, the people so the people got screwed and then people got smart and now people are kind of getting screwed again with the whole contract negotiation. Like I said, because if you don't come with any real leverage, like if you're one of the people that's fortunate enough to go on YouTube and you can break the 2 million as Faith was kind of setting up earlier, that's great. But if not, then you're just kind of floundering around, hoping some things happen if that's your agenda. Whereas, so you say, why did this person sign this 360 deal? Because now this person doesn't have to worry about promotion on YouTube. They're going to get the number one spot everywhere. You become the branding and the money that they spend on branding you and making you a star.
Yeah, but you're famously broke. That's famously broke, and we've heard stories about it. I know Will Smith talked about it. I know a few people talked about it. Like, what's worse than being like having success and losing everything is having the world think you're incredibly successful and you are eating rice and beans because you have no fucking choice because you're absolutely broke. You're working and broke.
Here's the thing. If I, even on a smaller scale, if I get you a gig for $1,000, right, and I'm taking 10%, I'm taking $100. What is that? You still took $900 from the deal.
Yeah, but these you're talking about like a really good 360 deal. Like, no, I'm talking about the core of it.
The core of what it is. Yeah. I mean, we can't go into every article of the of the
but the majority of these people that are getting fucked, when you look at like, okay, they're incredibly successful. I see their faces everywhere, and then you look at their earnings. You're like, wait a minute, but how? The how that project made this, and you brought home this.
Because how much did the project cost? That's the thing that everybody leaves out in business. Everybody talks about all these astronomical numbers that people gross these salaries, but they don't look at what the expense was to make it happen.
Like movies, my God, man.
Right. Movie deals. Yeah, of course. Like, all right, the movie. I'm in a movie. Brickhouse Productions. Yeah, you guys get me. Brickhouse Management. Okay, I get a movie, and the movie ends up being a hit around the world. Like one of these Marvel movies that makes $500 million, and I only made $1.5 million off the movie. Well, yeah, because the movie cost like so much, I had a choice, either taking the money up front or taking points on the back end. Back end. I get all that. Generations of dollars or generating the dollar amount. Like I understand that, but listen, there's no secret that shitty contracts are being put out here to fuck over people and enslave work. Like, I'm going to enslave you in on this deal, and I'm going to fuck you up. Like, again, to her credit, to the record label's credit, she says she was 20 years old, and a lot of people don't have sympathy for her because they're like, yo, you, even though you were 20, like, you knew what you were signing.
You knew what you were signing.
Everybody knows enough now. Listen to me. Yeah. I just met Faith literally like 30 some odd minutes ago. Okay? I would have her overlook my goddamn contract. I'm like, hey, yo, Faith, like, could you just take a look at this? Like, I got lawyers and shit, but I just need you to like see if like how do you feel like about this? Like what's going on with you? Like, no, there's no way in hell anybody could approach me with a stack of paper and me not have anybody look at it with wherewithal.
Her argument is that she didn't have anybody look at it?
Her argument was that she was 20 years old. That was her argument. I was 20 years old and I was in college, and I signed the shittiest deal ever.
I know a lot of 20-year-olds, and I wouldn't put that past them. They don't know much about life to that extent, and I feel like a lot of times growth happens after they get out of college because, a lot of them, it's being really honest, a lot of people are coddled all the way up until 18. They don't know anything about contracts. Half the people can't even boil water for hot dogs. It's real bad, guys. So
I think that's true. That's a good point, Faith. I think our generation, we grew up a little bit more mature
was like
than this this contract. I mean, like this generation did. Like we had more wherewithal than the generation. I mean, like this entitled generation of everything being done for themselves.
Right? I just think that they didn't get, I mean, not that I had home ec, but I had like variations of knowing how to do finance, like how to do your general books. I just don't think that people are exposed to that until they're in college. And then even when they're in college, they get an allowance from their parents, or they can't really keep up with the amount of loans, and then they might get a Pell Grant. There's just no like being able to manage your own finances, and that's just normal checkbook finances. How many people do you know even know how to write checks? Like, they don't even write checks anymore, let alone know how to balance a checkbook. And so when I think about that, and then a 20-year-old with a contract who doesn't know probably any legalese, who's thinking more of the future of, I'm going to be famous, not what is this going to do to my future, and how bad is this going to F me over in the future? Because she's 20, she's not thinking about the future. She's thinking about like, I'm going to be famous and this is my ticket and I have to take it. It's like selling your soul to the devil. It's either like sign this contract or be a nobody and struggle. That's kind of her option. So I get that. Yeah. I still think that it's a little harsh for the rest of your life. I think there should be a cap on it. 20 years. I mean, she'll be 40 something by the time that they're like, okay, we've made enough money off of this to not only recoup, but honestly bring like so much revenue back into the business to be able to.
So here's the question then. what should the cap be on them recouping their money then on the company?
It should be 3 years, like a shitty 72-month car loan that you get.
No. I mean in the effort.
10 years.
Well, I mean in the effort of you can't pay me my money back. You can't pay me the $2 million I spend on you. Is there a cap on that? How quick can you give me my $2 million back, or a portion of my $2 million back?
That's the thing, is it's like you're putting an investment into somebody. I completely understand that. I feel like
exactly.
It's totally understandable, but I just feel like if you do make it big, writing off their back for the rest of their career is a little extreme. So
you guys are saying I should lose a loan, but I should share, but I can't share in the profit if it does go. So I should lose it. I should lose my $2 million because it's an investment, because I invested in you. But if it goes the way and it's prosperous, I shouldn't get my 10%.
No, that's not what we're saying. I know that's not what I'm not saying at all. But I think the question there is that I like that you said that, because the question then there is how much. Okay, it was $2 million, right. But how that $2 million that you invested, what was the effort behind the $2 million in ensuring my success for you to recoup your money back? Is what I'm getting at. Because you can just throw out a figure and be like, oh yeah, $2 million, and have some frivolous manager in your company just putting with a budget that's outlandishly huge, but does not make good for okay, for instance, Stephen A. Smith, because this is calling audibles, he talks about advice that Trump gave him like 15 plus years ago, and he was asking about some financial advice, and he was like, okay, Stephen, if you go to the bank and you ask the bank for $100,000 or whatever, like the bank may be like reserved about giving you $100,000. If you ask them for $5 million for whatever it is that you're attempting to do, when you get that money, they're going to be more preempt in making sure you are successful in whatever that you're doing. Because if it's not beneficial, it's artificial. If I give you $5 million, not only am I going to give you $5 million, I'm going to damn well make sure you have all the connections you need to be successful, because I need my $5 million back. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, okay, you invested $2 million in me, but what else, like, did you do to ensure her success to be able to get that money back? Because if you're telling me I need to be connected to you for the rest of your life, that's like insurance. Like, yeah, I'm going to attach myself to you for the rest of your life. All right, so is it for the life of the $2 million? Is it a life of my success, or just the life of your investment? And that's why Faith is saying is like so spot on. Yeah, so it needs to be a cap on this shit.
Okay, so then let me ask you this. You put your money in the stock market in Google when Google first started, right? You put your $2 million in the stock market. You made a damn good goddamn guess, and Google is the fucking shit right now, right? It's 20 years later. Should they automatically kick you out of that and not give you your dividend for you leaving your $2 million in there for your investment that you made in the beginning that helped them to get where they were? Should it be a cap on stock dividends, and they should kick you out after 20 years and say, oh, you've recouped all your investment now. So now, although we're here and we're Google and we're $1 trillion company, it's been 20 years. You need to stop making money off of us.
I mean, they can absolutely do that. I saw it done on Billions. It's a great show on Showtime, by the way.
You see what I'm saying? That's the reality.
No, it is the reality, but it's not a. Well, I don't. Let me not say that. I don't know.
It doesn't have a moral compass.
Yeah, like it's got to be. Like, you're talking about attaching yourself to somebody literally for the rest of their life.
We're gonna like birth a baby. Like, we're gonna birth your career, and then we're gonna like tap.
Right? Yeah. Like, but it's music. You're gonna birth my musical career.
Right.
I'm doing something. Okay, I get out the biz, and now I own a fleet of car dealerships. Why the fuck do you need any of that? You don't
So
need a
here's the
portion
thing.
of that at all.
No, because it's very simple. It is very simple. If you come out and you use your stage name that I built for you, and that's the way that you got into that business, and that's what you have to use as your attraction. You don't think you owe me for that? For anything you do, and again, and this, let me frame this. This goes back to WWE. So let's take The Rock. So The Rock
I was just getting ready to go there.
So if The Rock uses The Rock, he's paying 10%. And again, this is from what I know. If he can get over off of Dwayne Johnson, that's why he started branding himself that way. If it's Dwayne Johnson, that you don't get 10% anymore.
That's
right?
Exactly what I was thinking of. It's just the difference of writing a smart contract of, are you going to use your name? Are you going to use a stage name? Are you going to use a business name? Because you can rebrand at any point, but you can't rebrand your name. Like, that's your identity. You know what I mean? Every business you have outside of that, you're going to have to grow and kind of attach it. But anytime you mention your name with that business, you're going to have to pay a quote unquote royalty.
Yes. Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. So if WWE made The Rock, they didn't make Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson was Dwayne Johnson. They made The Rock. So they get a piece of The Rock because people show up for The Rock. Some people may show up for Dwayne Johnson, but if you say The Rock is there, it's a whole different ballgame, right? So if you come in and you say, I'm Koffe Black, and I say, all right, we built you into this superstar as Koffe Black, and then you get out of the business and you go over here and you do X, Y, Z, you should be able to do it on your own accord. You don't need to use what I built for you then, is what you're telling. You don't need that anymore. Whatever you do outside of the business, you can keep 100% of that. But you know, if you attach Koffe Black to it, people are coming to buy it just because of the brand that you have. That's why if I birthed that brand, I need my money off of that because you didn't make it. We worked together. I helped you to make it. But if I put up $2 million, you didn't have $2 million. I took all the risk there. So if I take it's just like with a stock. If I take all the risk in buying into the stock, I want all the dividends for the risk because if I lose, I lose. If I put $2 million into Google and Google was a horrible company and went under, I would have been out of $2 million alone. But when I win, I get to win in Google. And
Hey, let me tell you something. And that's why they call it gambling, baby. Okay? That's why they call it gambling. All right,
this ain't Vegas. This is okay. So did you not gamble with the 10 when you decided to sign the 360 deal? Was that not a gamble?
Absolutely, it was.
Well, then what was me?
You both gambled together. You gambled on me being great, and I gambled on you taking me on the ride of doing so. It was a give and take. It wasn't like it's not a give and take. Like it's not enslavement. Like it's not a give. Like you need my success as well, or else you wouldn't have invested in me as well. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
it's not like
the thing is
at the top. Like you still need artists to come through for your business to grow and for you to be successful as well. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. But think about it. If I'm a business and I made you, this is what I do. You see what I'm saying? It's one thing if it's the only thing that I ever created was you. That's one thing. If you want to come out there and say, and I've been attaching myself to you. If I'm already on and I'm putting you in place to do it, we get to help each other off our transaction. But I was doing what I was doing before you came along. We partnered together. Now I was already in the space, in the place where I needed to be. I said by doing this with you, yes, I grow my star, and then we create a new star, and then here you are. Now you out here in the game, and you able to go make moves.
I think that honestly, there's a huge shift in this, though. And how old is this artist now?
Like 25, maybe 24. Yeah, something like
24, 25.
I think 5 years ago, a lot of people, I mean, I hate to play the feminist card, but a lot of people, specifically women, were kind of taken advantage of because of status, because of a lot of different things. But I think nowadays we look back at when people make deals like that and we can judge them a little bit more because we understand more about branding, marketing, how we can change our names and how that can be more to our benefit. And we didn't have as much negotiating power that we do now, because 5 years ago things were so different than they are now. Now we can understand that, you know, people can stand up for themselves a little bit more. They understand more about contracts. They understand how they can utilize themselves and do self-branding than they need to have some overarching company to make them big. So a lot of stuff has changed in the last 5 years, and people don't get screwed over as much because they are more cognizant of the fact that they can actually not only fight for what they believe they are worth, but also that they are worth a lot more than what people have given them credit before. So they have a lot more self-confidence, so they can ask for what they want and say, oh no, this is a shit deal, I'm not going to take this. But, you know, 5 years ago, things were a lot different, and that they felt like this was the only option that they have. And at least in my perspective, and how much I've learned in the last 5 years of how different marketing has changed and how everybody's career path has completely become so different. I mean, you can go out and do almost any job for anybody at any time, and you don't need to have big record labels to be able to do that, or have big TV companies or anything really. You can make your own television show, your own movies, your own Netflix specials on different platforms. And so it's really interesting to me to see this kind of stuff, because it has drastically changed, and I don't think
that's true.
Understand that.
That's true. Drake was Drake was one of the first ones. Like, he was hanging around Young Money. Like, Drake was doing projects with everybody, and Drake was unsigned. Chance the Rapper, another artist, unsigned. Like, yeah, they broke the mold. I'm going to be unsigned. I'm going to come out here and create my music, and I'm going to get radio plays. And with everything changing now, with deals being done digitally, like with Spotify and Tidal and Apple Music and iHeart, whatever, all that shit. Like, everything is totally different. Like, digital downloads now, everything is different. The independent artist is like, you have, Faith is absolutely right. You have so much power now. Like, you really don't need anybody for anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you can break the mold, if you just find that one collab, you find that one person who believes in you, and they don't particularly have to put money up for you. They could just believe in you as a person and just mention you or promote you without money, but just have you show up to things. They can make you a star without having to put up collateral, so therefore they don't need to take so much from it. Now, I'm not saying that those deals weren't really important for putting up. When you put so much risk up, you are putting your whole life savings or whatever, you know, they have to put up for it, and that they shouldn't take that cost, and they shouldn't get money for that. I'm just saying that nowadays, when people realize the deals they need, she still has the options to completely change her name, to completely change who she is, completely change her image, and she doesn't have to follow that deal, because people are really intelligent, and the way that they go about business these days, there's so many ways around it, and they can kind of rewrite history. But at least she's recognizing that, like, yeah, I was young and dumb and did dumb shit when I was 20 years old. Didn't we all? I know I did. Like, my 20s were
absolutely
all kinds of things. But
I absolutely signed a 360 deal at 20. I'm just talking shit.
I mean, I think that's the thing. And so as we go to the core of this, of why people sign these deals, and Faith, when I was at your office last, we were talking about you know, the town you came from, and talking about the town that I came from, and so we all got to put ourselves in those places of, you know, when you're there and you're looking, you know, in the future, and you're lucky, you feel like you're lucky enough to get an opportunity, then people sign these crazy deals. So again, so to summarize just my whole point, just the core of it, of the 10% is what I'm arguing. I understand now all these extra articles that are added in, and these people sign away all these other things. Again, that's just lack of knowledge because they didn't read the contract.
Yeah, taking advantage of people for sure.
Taking advantage of people, and it's business, and that's the core of what I tell all the artists that are close to me, is all this emotional and artistic shit is great. And you know, you need that, but if you don't have your business together, you don't even need to be out here, because there's sharks. Yes, and
I get the speech every day.
Yes,
every
the sharks
day.
Everywhere.
I get the speech from this guy.
You have to have your business together, and you don't have this. You got to pay for representation. right? In order so you don't get in deals like this. But again, I understand where she at 20 years old. Hell, it's people right now at 35 years old. If they in the right situation, if somebody said, "Hey, I want to make you a star," and they thought they actually that's what they something that they wanted to do, they would go sign on no matter what it says. And then you get it. So the issue here with Meg, and again, this is just from what I've read, is she wants to sign with Rock. Well, Rock Nation is managing her. Again, that's like top of the line.
Yeah, they're managing her,
right? And I'm pretty sure they would love to have her in the deal, but she's already in the deal, right? So I mean, it's business now at that point. So when you have top, now you're able to get top of the line management because you built yourself up, and with the help of this label that you were working with to become this person. Like you are, you're pretty high as far as the star goes right now. So now you're there. So now, Rock Nation is not even knocking on your door until you're a star already. They only want you once you are a star. So for her to even be able to get there, and now they can point out and say, hey, we've been looking at your contract and this is what it is. You may want to think about these things. And so the record label owner is like, hey, you guys went around when we were out here doing all of these small things. And so now here's the payoff. But like I said, all the extra shit that people are signing away, artists, let me tell you something, get you a consultant, get you a lawyer, get you somebody who understands paperwork, because the pitch that you get from the business guy, he's looking at you, and you see how I just argue here. I understand from the business point. If you listen to this whole show, I wanted you guys to understand this is what it's like. It's cutthroat. You're looking at the bottom line. You're looking at how to keep your morale, but still be value based if you even care about that. But in the music industry, people don't care about that. In any part of the entertainment or the arts world, like it's hard for artists to get a piece of the pie. So just like going back when you're a person and you're looking up and you see that you say 360. I don't care about that. I'm gonna count these dollars. They're gonna give me a $10,000 signing bonus. And I'm working as a waitress at Denny's or a waiter at Denny's. Come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Living in my
pride.
Pride.
It's pride. It's pride too. It's pride too. There's absolutely times in my life, coming from the artist perspective, where I was like, man, I would do shameful things right now to get out of this fucking predicament or get out of this one of those 15 fucking jobs that I had. I would have done shameful things. I've done shameful things. And I've done shameful things while still working at those shitty jobs.
Preach.
So let's go ahead and wrap it. We don't want to keep them too long. Look, Faith, we heard through the grapevine that you had an interesting job before in the past. Now we don't want to give it away. We'll say that for next episode if you decide to join us again. But tell us a little bit about some of the care, or maybe a story from this job, and maybe people can try to guess what you used to do.
Oh God. Just one story, because
oh no, we'll next episode we'll work it in. We just want to leave a teaser now. So, but don't give away what it was. Just something that happened.
Oh, I mean, something funny or.
No, it doesn't matter. Just something that you find interesting. This is how the people get to know you, just by you being yourself. So a story that you would tell if you were just hanging out with your friends and you guys were talking. You was like, hey, I never told you about this, but this shit happened.
I worked a lot of different jobs, and they reached the gamut. This particular job, it was simultaneously entertaining and sad, and it just reached the gamut of all things that I could accumulate in my experiences to make me as a person, both good and bad. And it definitely tested the odds of my future, if you know what I mean. And it also was just so many skills that I learned from this particular one. And man, I'd have to really think about a story. My God, man, there's just so many of them.
I'm gonna tell you right now, man. If I didn't know what you did previously, I'm telling you right now, my brain is swirling. Okay,
You're like,
just off that description, and it's all bad. It's all negative what you did.
I met Dave Chappelle. I met Vanilla.
Here we go.
I met so many different random people that just came in and out of this particular establishment. I saw the good things, I saw the bad things of people, and I definitely, I mean, I would do it again, but kind of begrudgingly.
Oh my God.
That's good.
Let me tell you something. That was so perfect the way she did that, because I am for sure that somebody right now is thinking what I'm thinking.
Oh, God.
And I already know what she did. But the way she verbed that, the way she put that together, I mean, come on. Hey, I'm just saying, I don't know, Faith. It sounds really sketchy.
Gamble on the fact that I'm going to come back.
All right.
Yeah.
I guess that's what we got to do.
That's what we got to do. All right.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen, that's calling audibles. That's it.
That's it. Until next time, Faith, we appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us. I hope you had a good time. Hopefully you come back.
Yeah, he will be back. What are you talking about? Faith, you're going to be back, right?
All right, Faith's coming back.
Speaking of contract, she's already contracted in, so she's going to be back. This is the team.
And she has a 360 deal.
I did not sign it.
She signed a 360 deal.
No, Faith did not sign a 360 deal.
She signed it. She signed it.
Let me tell you something. Once you guys told her the shit that you told her about me, which was totally unfair, she absolutely did not sign a 360 deal.
Let's have 6 people look over it first, you know.
Yeah, because make sure you get that representation. No, absolutely.
Legal Shield is only $35 a month, dude.
That's it. All right, we out of here.
All right. Calling audibles.
Got the time through the dime I want. Been up in the sky I won't. Let a nigga waste your motherfucking time I won't. That'll be a crime I don't ever wanna make you think I'ma go far in. For real and whatever I want. You ain't know that I'm the motherfucking man I am. Scooby never slacking on fronts. I can make a shit splash on my dash on way. Got a whole lot of cash in the stash on way. Got a chick in the whip with the cool on way. That's game for the team. We don't lose on way, on way, on way.